Welcome to Ag Matters, covering positive agriculture stories from across Alaska on Big Cabbage Radio.
Hey, welcome to Ag Matters Radio. I'm your host, Tandy Hogate. Today I get to talk with Scott from Alaska Range Dairy, and I'm really excited to talk to him because they have a lot going on, and it's just so fun to have somebody working so hard to get sustainable foods in Alaska. So, Scott, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So let's start at the beginning. How did you even get started? Where did you get the idea to start a grade A dairy in the interior part of the state?
Okay, I basically grew up on the dairy farm, generations as far as we know. Our family's all been dairy farmers. We used to dairy farm in Northwest Washington before we moved to Alaska in 2008. Kind of what spurred it on to start here is my sons were old enough, adults now. They were very interested in doing it. And it gave more opportunity for them to stay on the farm, giving them all jobs, giving them ownership of different areas of the farm. So they were the leading push to start dairying here. We're always up for an adventure, and the other thing is it helped diversify our farm a little more to kind of reduce some of the risks.
Absolutely. You have to diversify when you're a farmer, for sure. So you're not just running this yourself. This is a family operation then.
That's correct, yeah. It's my wife, my two sons, and then we have a little bit of part-time help that also helps with bottling and stuff like that.
I bet that keeps you busy.
Very busy.
I'm sure. So what gave you, so you said you wanted to kind of come up with an idea to maybe, have your family all work together on the farm. But the idea of an actual grade A dairy, that seems like a really big undertaking. Can you talk to us a little bit about that process and if it went smooth or was it like eating an elephant, they say, one bite at a time, or how'd you go about that?
Well, growing up in it and farming in it, we were always a grade A dairy in Washington, so that part wasn't real foreign to us. And being grade A, I guess it's not that huge a deal. It's basically, regulations as far as how your cows are treated, how they're milked, how the equipment is washed, what type of equipment, building construction, things like that all have to be to a certain code. And most of that code is pretty common sense stuff. If you're going to have a dairy, whether it's a real small one that you're just selling raw to the neighbors or whatever, a lot of these rules should be followed in the same procedure anyway. So, if we were going to do this, we wanted to do it correct and make it long-term sustainable.
Well, I think you're right in that from what I've heard, it's really a lot of common sense rules. Now, I just want to make a clarification real quick. So for anyone who's looking for local milk that's never left the state of Alaska, we kind of have two options, right? So we have cow shares, which are as far as I know, it's always raw milk, which you have to actually go to the farm to get. And you go to the farmer, you pay them a certain amount for the shares, and then you pay another certain amount to pick up your milk every week. But you have to go to them. Part of what's beautiful about your product is we can just go to Three Bears or Walmart, or I don't know who all carries them, which is something I'd like to talk about. But we can just go to the store when we're picking up any other groceries and grab ourselves some milk, and it's still in Alaska. But it is different than a raw milk would be, right, than a milk share. So first, before we talk about where you're located, tell us a little bit about what your process is for putting milk on the shelves.
So the question is raw versus our milk, basically.
Yeah, what's
correct?
The process that you go through that makes your milk different than what we're going to find just on a farm?
Okay, there is actually very, very little difference. It basically to sell raw or to sell milk publicly, it needs to be grade A certified and through a grade A inspected plant. To sell grade A milk, it has to be pasteurized. The way we do it is we do a VAT type pasteurization at the lowest legal limit, which is 145 degrees. So at that temperature, we are doing basically no or very little change to the milk versus raw. It's as close as you can possibly get. Basically, we knock out the most harmful bacteria, such as E. coli's, but it's still got the good bacteria in it. So there really isn't much difference. You cannot tell a difference in taste or texture or nutrition between ours and raw. The biggest difference in our milk versus typical store-bought milk is they homogenize. We do not homogenize or take any cream out, so it's as natural straight from the cow as it can be. Homogenizing basically is a high-pressure machine that breaks up the fats and protein molecules that make it so it won't separate, so the cream won't rise to the top. It's more of a convenience factor for the mass market. They don't have to worry about shaking the jug like the old days and stuff like that. But that does change the structure of the milk. It changes how it's digested. We have a lot of people that are supposedly lactose intolerant or have digestion issues with typical store-bought milk, but they can drink ours just fine, just like raw milk. So it definitely makes a difference.
It does make a difference, and I actually read a study about I read a couple studies about this, and it was saying that, the way that milk was created to be drank, which is whole, or the way milk was created, I should say, it has the cream and the regular milk, and it was made in order to be digested, you need the fat. Like the fat works with the sugars and makes it more digestible. So all this work we've done messing with food has done nothing but make it worse. When it's in its more natural form, that's how it's more digestible, and we're able to handle it a lot better. So I agree with you wholeheartedly. I want to jump back for a second to the vat pasteurization because this just fascinates me. So you're bringing it to a temperature of 145, and so it's killing the things like E. coli and the things that people often can have, can get sick from. But you're leaving a lot of the nutrients in there. What made you decide to go with a vat pasteurization rather than, say, an ultra pasteurization, which is what the majority of the milk you're going to get in the store?
Our goal was to produce as natural a product as possible. And also to compete in the world out there, we cannot produce milk as cheap as they can ship milk in from Seattle or wherever. So we needed a different product, and we wanted to make a more wholesome product and quality that would justify being a little more expensive, because that's just the fact of Alaska. So that was one of the main reasons to do that, was not do the ultra pasteurization, which does take more nutrients and is more harmful to the milk. So that was probably our main reason for that, just to keep it simple and natural. I do think that ultra pasteurizing does definitely change the milk. Also, I think that also damages the proteins and the fats in the milk. That is the long shelf life you can get from it. So we have a much shorter shelf life the way we do it.
I see. So there's a trade-off for everything, isn't there?
Yep. And there's a lot of information out there or concept of what raw milk is versus our milk. And a lot of it goes to people are looking for raw milk. What they really are looking for, they may not understand it, is minimal processed milk, non-homogenized milk. There's can't think of the right words for it, but there is no real benefit of raw versus ours, but there is a huge benefit of ours versus commercial store milk.
Yeah, the ultra pasteurized stuff for sure, absolutely. Not to mention, imagine how much fresher yours is if it comes from your farm to even a grocery store in the valley here where we are, as opposed to having to go from a farm to a distributor to, I don't even know the process, then to a wholesaler, then it's got to get on a barge, then it's got to get here, and then it's got to be distributed to stores up here. And I mean, I imagine they have to ultra pasteurize milk to make it up here that doesn't originate here.
Correct.
It wouldn't get here in time.
Yes, yes.
So how many cows do you guys have, and what breeds of cows do you have?
We're milking 60 to 65 cows at the moment. Probably by next fall we'll be 70, 75. We're slowly growing as our young stock comes in. We have, I'd say, primarily Holstein, but we do have a mix of kind of all the breeds also, but majority Holstein. We do also, pretty much all of our cows are A2, and we also are breeding strictly A2. So at some point we'll be 100% A2 milk.
That's fascinating, which is another digestibility issue for a lot of people. A lot of people are able to drink A2 milk. So that's awesome. About how many gallons? 65 cows a day. About how many gallons is that?
We're producing about 500 gallons a day.
Oh, my word. That's awesome. And where are you distributing this milk to?
We're in pretty much all of the Three Bears main grocery stores. We are also in most of the Walmart stores on the road system. We just started the Kenai store down in Kenai about 2 weeks ago. And then we also serve, I don't have the whole list here, but a lot of smaller specialty type stores, co-op type situations, and health food stores, things like that. And a lot of those stores handle our milk in the glass. We do glass and plastic.
Oh, I didn't realize that. So I just get it at Three Bears, and I've only ever seen the plastic. So who has the glass bottles then? And my goodness, are you getting those back, or are people keeping those?
Yes, we try to. It is definitely a challenge to get them back.
I'm sure.
We're running in a little crisis right now. Our shipment of replacement glass got delayed, so it's going to be real close if we run out or not. So we're hoping people return them as best they can quickly. We do see in the Valley, Palmer would be non-essentials. Carries our glass, and then in Anchorage, Arctic Harvest Deliveries, and Natural Pantry would have it.
Okay.
The bigger stores like the Walmarts and Three Bears, it's a little bit of a hassle with the glass return, so they prefer just to handle the plastic.
Well, that makes sense too, and there's advantages to both, right?
Yeah, that's for sure. I think the milk stays fresher longer in the glass. If you're going to be using it real quickly, you may not notice much of a difference with the plastic.
Very good. Yeah. So you said that you're not taking any of the cream off of your milk, so that probably answers my question, but I'm curious if I know that you sell yogurt and you sell milk. Are you planning to go anywhere with new products, for instance, just heavy cream? That's what we look for all the time. We can't quite ever get enough.
Yeah, we get asked that a lot. That's something we always struggle with. Do we want to sacrifice the quality of our milk and take cream out of it? And at this point, we don't think that's the right move. So at this point, there's no heavy creams in the future. That could change. That and the equipment to separate the milk, a little larger scale more than just at home is very expensive equipment. So that's something we have to grow into with more cow numbers and time before we can afford to do that.
Well, that makes perfect sense. Yeah. And like you said, it is there's only so much cream. And if people want, I know we prefer that our milk be whole milk, and so, but we also like our cream too, right?
Yep. So I advise people, if they want the cream, leave the milk jug set in the fridge undisturbed for 24 hours, and then skim the cream off the top.
Very good. That makes sense.
Yep.
So do you have any other new products in the works? What are you thinking for the future?
We are looking at fairly soon starting strawberry milk. We've been getting a lot of requests for that. And then also cultured buttermilk might be in the near future.
Ooh, that's a good one. So on your strawberry milk, I just heard from my daughter. She's a teenager, and these things can kind of rock your world depending on age. But she had said that the Nestle strawberry milk is being discontinued because it has the wrong red dye, and they didn't want to redo. I don't even know if this is true, so I should preface it with that. But I'm curious on your strawberry milk, assuming because you work so hard on maintaining health, I'm assuming it'll have actual strawberries and it won't have a bunch of weird ingredients in it. Is that right?
Well, our chocolate milk and our strawberry milk is going to be more of a commercial mix that we add to our milk. It is basically impossible to find a more natural mix for what we're doing for non-homogenized milk in a larger scale. And for us to have to hand mix all separate ingredients is just not economically or time feasible. So the flavored milk is not necessarily your healthiest product. We call them dessert products. They're not a necessity, and if you want it, you can have it. But try and keep the main staple of what people need, which is the whole milk, as pure as possible.
Well, that makes sense. And your chocolate milk is about the creamiest chocolate milk we've ever had. It is so good. Man, that's
yeah, it hasn't done me any good, so. Anyway, and the flavored milk has to be very desirable or it will not sell. And
right.
we need to move a certain amount of volume to make it work.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, our yogurts, we try and keep that as natural as possible. Our plain yogurt has no additives at all. It is whole milk with the cultures and probiotics. We do add nothing else to it. Our vanilla yogurt is the same thing, but we do use pure cane sugar as a sweetener and pure vanilla extract as a flavor. So there's no artificial ingredients or thickeners or anything like that in that.
That's another thing that I know we appreciate. I use your yogurt as our base when I make homemade yogurt, okay. And it just makes a beautiful homemade yogurt. It's obviously full of good stuff because it does make a really nice yogurt. So you guys have done a really good job. Well, I'm just excited that you're able. One of the neatest things I feel like for you guys is you're able to take a really condensed health product. Like this is, I mean, it's some people would say, well, it's just milk. Well, it's more than just milk. This is packed full of nutrients, and you're able to get it on store shelves, so it's easy for people to get to, which is, that's huge right there. So we just love that you're out there. We drink your milk. We love your milk. We advertise your milk. We just really, really appreciate that you guys are here. And I just want to say, keep up the good work. It's pretty cool.
Okay, we certainly appreciate that. I'd say one of our biggest struggles that we have is the larger chain stores. Very, very difficult to get your products into. If the public would like more local products, these larger stores need to be harassed to carry.
Aha. So we can reach out to like Fred Meyer and Cars and tell them we want the local milk.
Yes. We're kind of stuck. Walmart stepped up, been very, very good to us, and Three Bears. The other ones have been very difficult. We really cannot expand anymore till we can get another larger chain to accept local products.
Fair enough. Okay.
It's a huge problem that we've been struggling with.
So now we all have a mission. Fred Meyer and Cars, and I don't know who else. Do we have other bigger chain stores up here, or is it just the two?
Those would be the main two, maybe Costco.
Oh,
yeah, Fred Meyer's would be another one.
Yep. Okay. All right. Well, it's good to have a mission in a way that we can help, because we're always looking for ways to expand Alaska products. So this is good to hear. Scott, thank you so much for taking the time. It was fun to hear the story behind the farm, and really helpful for us to know how we can help you as well, because we definitely want you to keep going. We really appreciate your products.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to Ag Matters, covering positive agriculture stories from across Alaska. Ag Matters is a production of Radio Free Palmer, recorded at our studios in Palmer, Alaska. For more information about this program, email manager@radiofreepalmer.org.